Is ULTY dead, or is everyone just looking at it the wrong way? It's trading around $4.20 right now, down more than half from its highs, but it's still pumping out weekly distributions. What's really going on? What's your opinion? Before we get started, share it down in the comments below. Are you thinking ULTY's a good buy still? Have you never been into ULTY? Are you thinking about selling? Where are you at with it? Before we get into this, go ahead and leave comments down below. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Simply Money. Let's start with what everyone sees, the price collapse. But that drop doesn't necessarily mean the ETF has failed. It's doing what it was designed for, generating weekly income by trading away upside potential. Since launch, ULTY's price has fallen from around $10 to $4.20. And we've really seen that fall over the last few months. It had stayed steady when it went to the weekly distribution. Back in March, it stayed steady from about $6, give or take. Up until August, it was trickling in maybe into the upper $5 range. But over the last couple months here, it has really gone down. It has a lot of people worried, has a lot of people rethinking, is ULTY a keeper? Do I have to change how I'm operating with it? Let's dive into this and see what we have. When you see that price falling, it looks terrible on a chart, but it's important to remember investors have been getting weekly distributions this entire time. But one of the problems that we're having is the distributions aren't equal or greater than the NAV decline. Now, if the distribution is equal, then it's going to be basically flat. Your total return isn't going to increase. If the distribution is higher than the NAV erosion, that's where your total return is going to grow your portfolio if you're dripping. But when the NAV decrease is greater than the distribution, then that's when we start seeing the portfolio diving and people getting concerned. What will it do long term? Will this stay in a negative NAV greater than the distribution for a long period? We don't know. We're waiting to see. Today, November 13th, the market was down. The Dow dropped almost 800 points. It was a horrible red day, and ULTY was no different. It definitely took a hit. For those that don't know, the fund sells covered calls on a select number of stocks that it holds, and it rotates those around. And we're going to look at some of those here in a minute. It does this while giving up potential for further growth. It's going to get some growth, but it's going to lose some of the upside. So the income is what's driving people in this fund, is what makes people want this. But is it sustainable? Is the NAV erosion greater than the distribution long-term going to make this a bust of a fund? Well, we're going to find out here shortly, I think, but who knows? Those who have watched my channel know that I have a position in ULTY that I did a few months back. It is strictly an experiment for me. I'm not recommending that you buy or sell or do anything with ULTY. I did this, and I'm producing these videos to show you what's happening, and you're going to have to make your own financial decisions. This is not financial advice. This is for educational, informational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence. If you bought ULTY at $10, you've seen a price cut of about 58%. But with weekly payouts around 1.5%, you could have received well over $3.50 to $4 in distributions since inception, almost equal to today's price. But it hasn't been as much as the drop. For those who have been holding ULTY, the distribution was about 10 cents consistently. Then it dropped to 9 cents, and that was going on for several months. Then we had the 8 cent, and then we had a 7 cent. It's just been dropping. So how is ULTY actually working? ULTY isn't a traditional dividend. It's a synthetic covered call fund. It earns income by selling options every week on these different movements of these underlying stocks. If the volatility is high, ULTY earns larger option premiums, higher weekly payouts. When volatility drops, as it has through this last few weeks and a couple months, premiums shrink. Smaller yields. Those payouts are passed directly to investors as distributions, not reinvested back into the fund. A lot of people are asking, why does the price keep falling? And the share price keeps dropping because ULTY is constantly paying out its own value. It's not meant to grow, it's meant to pay. Each week, ULTY distributes a portion of its assets as income. That's great for cash flow, but naturally causes the NAV to erode over time. Think of it like a high-yield bond. It pays you now, but the principal gradually declines. At $4.20 with a 6-cent weekly distribution, that's about a 1.4% weekly yield or a 73% annualized if sustained. The trade-off is you're getting the yield by selling upside and slowly reducing the NAV. I want to show you the chart that I've been using. I usually do this on a monthly update with my entire portfolio, but people are really getting concerned with ULTY, and I wanted to share this with you today, show you where it's at. We're going to dive into this and share these figures and these numbers. Those, again, who have been watching the channel in mid-July, that's when I bought about $5,000 worth. My cost was $6.38. Then I made a couple other purchases as some of my sales of other things came in from different accounts, so I had to buy them at different times. As you can see, these buys here. The total purchase, as you can see down here, is $21,657. So that's how much I paid into it out of my own money. Now, we've had distributions, and we're going to look at these distributions. Here we have the dividend, 10 cents. Pretty consistent there from July until mid-August. Then it dropped down to 9 cents, and it stayed at 9 cents. Look at that, from August 29th all the way down to October 23rd. Then we had a couple 8 cents. This one was actually 7 cents. When you put the decimals over, you can see, but it rounds up. I just keep it rounded up to the 8 cents. It was almost 8 cents. This week, the one we just got is 6 cents, and that's what's got people worried. That's what I want to show you here. And we're going to skip over this beginning part because I only had a few of the shares. I want to start down here August 15th. Once I had purchased all my shares, you can see my dividend payment weekly. I was getting 360, 366, and it dropped a little bit. Then it started picking up. As the NAV came down, I was accumulating more shares. You can see I went from getting 60 shares to 70 shares because the price had come down. So I was getting more shares, and I got my highest payment here at $382 this week. But since then, it's been dropping, and this week was a pretty big drop when you look at the fact that I added 77 shares last week, and this week I'm only able to add 64 shares because between the dividend payment and even though it's a much lower price, I still got fewer shares added. This is where people are concerned and asking, is this going to be sustainable? Will this right here, will this share price come back up? Maybe it gets back up to $4.50. Maybe it drops down to $4 next week. We don't know. And will this dividend keep dropping? But this here is what has people concerned, because the point of the 100% drip, and that's what I've been doing, 100% drip, is to accumulate more shares. You can see I've added 1,000 shares in this short period of time. I've gained a lot of shares, but even in gaining that many shares, my distribution is lower significantly than it was, about $100 a week. That's $400 a month if that was to maintain that. As we look at this, you can see I'm down, total down, $2,583. So it's not a huge, in 4 months, it's not a huge drop that I've had here. That's pretty insignificant when you think about long-term investing. My portfolio might drop $60,000, $70,000 in a short period of time, but then it climbs back and comes back. So this one fund being down $2,500 doesn't concern me. What is a little bit concerning for people is seeing that, hey, my payments are getting lower even though I'm adding so many more shares. So what happens over the next few months will be very interesting with ULTY. You can see that I have had $5,433 of dividend payments that I've reinvested, and that's how I've bought this extra 1,000 shares, but I'm still down almost $2,600 total. So my total return is in the negative. It's not been a positive. I'm not in the green at this point. If maybe this goes back up to 7, 8 cents, that could make a big difference. Let's just see what could happen. Even if the share price, the NAV, stays the same, let's say it goes back up to 7.5 cents. See, that would bring that payment back up where we're looking at, and look at, you're gaining 85 shares. What we're looking for is either this distribution, this dividend payment, whatever you want to call it, to increase slightly or this NAV to stop dropping so quickly. That's the big concern. As you can see, week over week, basically October, we're at 547. We have just dropped in this last month, about 6 weeks, we've dropped down to 420. That's a big drop, and that's where you're seeing this price. Now I'm putting this back to where it was. That price dropping. Let's pretend that the fund has a good run here and we get back up to $4.50. Well, I'm still in the negative. Without adding any more shares, I would need the share price to go up. I think it's about 475 and just a little bit over that. So about 480. I need the share price to go up to about $4.80 for me to be in the green. Yeah, right at $4.80. So that's a big jump. 60 cents in this type of fund is a huge jump. The other thing that can happen is if it maintains this 420 and rides that area, what we need here is for this to maintain for quite a while. We need it to sit still. Maybe it drops a little bit, but it has to drop less than the distribution for several weeks for us to be able to get back in the green on our scenario. Yours may be different. With this being shown, what are you thinking? Are you getting out of ULTY? Are you never getting into it? Where are you at with that? There's a lot of things that could happen here. I'm just telling you, I did this as an experiment. You can see from my chart where I'm at. We'll just say a $21,000 investment. If I sold out today, I'd be down $2,500. I did this knowing that there was a good chance I might lose some on here, but long term, let's see what happens. I will do another update. The question is, do you think ULTY is dead? This couple weeks has been rough. Look at that. In the last 2 weeks, we've dropped from 487 down to 420. That's been a huge drop. And then the distribution dropping and paying out much less has not helped either. So it has a lot of people scared, a lot of people concerned. What are your thoughts? Leave the comments down below. Give me your thoughts, your opinion, and we will continue to monitor this. I appreciate you joining me, and we'll see you next time on Simply Money.